When Veo 3 launched earlier this year, we got our first taste of dynamic AI dialogue and audio generation.
Incredible.
And since then, even more companies have released even more image-to-video models that dynamically generate lip-synced audio. But this is a blessing and a curse, as now it's hard to choose which model is right to use in any given situation or for any given shot. And to make matters worse, these models are not cheap, and you could quickly find yourself forking over a big bag of your hard-earned money for a dynamic generation that doesn't fit your needs. But you don't have to get burned, because I've created this full breakdown of all the leading dynamic dialogue generators so that you can quickly judge which one will match your use case and not blow up your piggy bank. Let's start with the new kid on the block, OpenAI's Sora 2. Is this thing a revolution or is it just a meme? To answer that question, I'm gonna put it through the twofold, 4-part image-to-video gauntlet that I've developed to test dynamic dialogue and lip syncing, starting with this cel-shaded knightly Scottish fellow, here reciting a pre-scripted line of dialogue.
Let's not call it a retreat, lads. It's a strategic repositioning to optimize future engagement opportunities. Let's circle back after the skirmish and touch base on our pillaging KPIs.
Sora definitely landed all of the dialogue, and the lip syncing was solid, but there wasn't any additional animation as it was pretty robotic. And I would note that it didn't look anywhere near that sharp until I sent the footage through Topaz Astra for a full 4K upres. Let's take a quick look at an improvised dialogue shot. That's where I ask models to generate their own copy based on a very generalized prompt.
The sun bleeds low behind the hills, yet our path's no softer for it. Steel waits in the shadows, and so do the tales they'll tell of us. Hold fast, for tonight we carve our names in.
It certainly seemed to understand the assignment, and gave the character a little bit more animation, so he didn't feel so wooden. I would say for animated shots, Sora 2, Electric Mimaru, works fine enough. Let's see how it fares against a non-humanoid character in a 3D rendering type scene.
Yeah, can I get a large pie with extra anchovies? And throw in an order of garlic knots? I just cycled in a new set of teeth. Yeah, that's right. Make it nice and crispy. Perfect. Appreciate it.
That landed the lip syncing well enough, although I suppose I'm using that term loosely with a shark. It seemed to want to turn his cell phone into a flip phone, and the dialogue itself felt pretty stilted. When it ran out of scripted dialogue before the end of the 12-second generation, it actually improvised a few additional lines at the end, which sounded more natural.
Yeah, that's right. Make it nice and crispy. Perfect. Appreciate it.
So it shouldn't be a surprise that the improvised shot turned out better.
Yeah, it's me. No, I'm not at the office. I'm at Tony's. Got a pepperoni pie in front of me the size of a life ring.
You and that pizza obsession. Thought you were on a clean fin diet.
I was, then the pizza called me back. What was I supposed to do, ignore destiny?
And that certainly looked and sounded pretty good, as do a lot of improvised shots with Sora 2. The less control you have, the better the generation comes out. If you really want to kick the tires on a dynamic dialogue and lip sync, feed a model a straight-up animal, like my cat Steve. Animal lip sync is where a lot of generations go to die.
You presented the transport crate under the false pretense of a leisurely outing, but instead, I was delivered to a facility of unwelcome probing. This breach of trust has been duly noted.
That scripted shot certainly wasn't going to win any acting awards, as there was basically zero animation on anything other than the mouth, but that mouth was lip-synced to the dialogue it was provided. And that's not nothing. The improvised shot certainly has more life, and again, more or less nails the lip-syncing, which is pretty hard for these models.
Hey, I'm Steve. I know, doesn't sound like a cat name, but that's what they gave me, and I'm kind of attached to it now. Anyway, the food bowl's sitting at about half capacity.
I think the reason Sora does so much better with short prompts and generates such meme-worthy outputs is because the image and text you input are just fed right into ChatGPT, and that ultimately, that is what's doing the prompting. For all we know, it might not even be a particularly great model, it's just tethered to an LLM that really knows how to prompt for it. This model is very new, so maybe I just need to work with it more, but that's my hot take. Now this is the part of the test where I'd like to show you how well Sora 2 fares with a realistic input in the form of AI's new it girl, Tilly Norwood. But no dice, as Sam Altman just doesn't think that we're responsible enough for that. Look, it can't do image to video with realistic imports. It's covered in watermarks unless you use a third-party tool with API access. And even directly from OpenAI, the Pro version costs a fortune. It works well for some animated shots, and the cat lip sync was solid. But Sora 2 often just feels more like a social experiment than a real tool. For all I know, it's a psyop. I'm gonna give it a C, as it only seemed to do a solid all-around job on the Pizza Shark. Next up is Wan 2.5. It only came out about a month ago, so you might not have checked it out yet. But is it even worth your time or money? Well, it had zero issue putting Tilly Norwood on a hot mic at a Hollywood red carpet.
The most it girl thing about me is that I'm going to be in rehab in under 6 months, and you'll forget about me entirely in less than a year. My agent is already planning my comeback, and my publicist can't wait to quit in frustration.
The teeth were a little soft, and there was maybe a little desync with the lips on the scripted dialogue, but that was really solid, and the character's performance felt very natural as well. I'm impressed. Okay, improv.
I'm so excited to be here tonight. It's been an incredible journey, and I'm grateful for this opportunity. Thank you all for coming out and supporting me.
She turned her head a bit at the top and kind of dropped off the mic. I really like this model. It nails this performance for a very casual shoulder-mounted camera interview on a red carpet. Let's check in with my cat Steve.
You presented the transport crate under the false pretense of a leisurely outing, but instead I was delivered to a facility of unwelcome probing. This breach of trust has been duly noted.
Really solid job on that lip sync, and the accompanying performance captured the meticulous vibes from the provided copy. Let's cat-provise.
I'm Steve, and I've been waiting for you to come home. Did you know the fridge is running low on milk? Also, the dog next door keeps barking at me. I think he's jealous.
I think I like the first one a little more, but it's hard to complain here. It improvised a tale, it figured out the name should be Steve, and the lip sync was more than passable. At the very least, the model knew the cat was the one that was talking, and its mouth kept up as such.
Let's not call it a retreat, lads. It's a strategic repositioning to optimize future engagement opportunities. Let's circle back after the skirmish and touch base on our pillaging KPIs.
I'm generally happy with that outcome, although I don't quite know what was going on with the high-speed birds flying in the background.
I am the guardian of the Northern Pass, and no foe shall cross this land unchallenged.
This improvised take was probably the worst we've seen so far from Wan 2.5. The lip sync was off, the Scottish accent was completely ignored. Also, the background is doing whatever it wants, reality be damned. It's entirely possible I just lost the generation lottery on only 3 attempts. None of these models are perfect, so let's check out the Pizza Shark.
Yeah, can I get a large pie with extra anchovies and throw in an order of garlic knots? I just cycled in a new set of teeth.
Well, I don't think he'll be getting a callback for that reading, but the lip sync was fine and the character animation was perfectly acceptable. In theory, that's what I'm testing here.
Hey, yeah, I'm just finishing up my pizza here. No, I didn't eat the whole thing yet. Wait, why are you asking? Oh, that's not funny. Look, I've got this big bite coming up, okay? Just wanted to let you know I'm still alive. Yeah, see you later.
More acting chops shown with the improvised scene. Maybe the writer is the problem, not the actor. The lip sync was again pretty solid. Hard to complain here. Overall, Wan 2.5 did really well. It didn't fail anything, and at times it nailed both the lip syncing and the character animations on both the scripted and improvised shots. It does 5 and 10-second generations at 720 and 1080. If you are only going to use one model for dynamic dialogue and lip syncing, Wan 2.5 would be a good choice, and it's available on most aggregators. A-. Look, I'm a big fan of Kling 2.5. I think it looks great and pulls off some shots I couldn't get to work anywhere else. Kling has also included audio generation on most of its models for quite some time, and the sound effects are often spot on. But can it generate character dialogue?
Der jaringskamperstobie. Arbeidet Grevsier på det Sorodi, Shape of Ready Slort, sich Farsong there, this is still Waterstuxno.
That looked great, and it was lip-synced reasonably well. I don't know what language that was supposed to be.
Jeg vil si bilen og si fase for vi bringe der alle software så jeg luksus så really I will say science way social.
Was that Spanish? I'm sure it'll go much better with a Scottish accent.
Turk.
Turns out no. That's not the audio cutting out, it just stopped generating sound. This is going well. It's cat syncing to cat noises. I didn't even label which of these were the improvised or scripted options. I'm not sure it really matters. I think we can see that Kling 2.5 animations are great, and this is one of the strongest image-to-video models with dynamic audio we have available right now. But it does not know how to handle language or actual dialogue. Never mind, this is my new favorite model. I really like Kling 2.5. Kling itself has a separate lip syncing system that lets you upload video and dialogue audio. That is not what Kling 2.5 is for. I give it an incomplete because it didn't ever really show up to class, and I'm pretty sure it's majoring in something else. Veo 3 was the first big release to feature dynamic dialogue and lip syncing all the way back in May. In AI years, that's essentially the Ice Age, so how will Grandpa Google perform when we pull him out of his fully immersive easy chair? Okay, Tilly, talk to me.
I'm just so thrilled to be here tonight. It's an honor to be nominated.
Nice improv dialogue, and the lip sync was also solid. Although the teeth were a bit of a hallucination fest, the performance was great and the background audio is spot on. It does feel like it cuts off mid-sentence though, and that's an issue with Veo 3 these days. And you can really see that issue in the scripted copy shot.
The most it girl thing about me is that I'm gonna be in rehab in under 6 months and you'll forget about me entirely in less than a year. My agent is already planning my comeback.
Tilly can't even get all of her dialogue lines out. The 8-second limit might not have been a big deal last spring, but today it is the shortest generation of any of the models I've looked at in this challenge. Veo 3 also has a tendency to produce very soft images with lots of smearing on the character features.
You presented the transport crate under the false pretense of a leisurely outing, but instead I was delivered to a facility of unwelcome probing.
That was the full Veo 3, by the way, not the fast version. It managed a lip sync, but with a mushy mouth that also botched one line of the script. Steve's motion is more or less just doing cat things with a synced mouth stuck on the end of his face. The improvised shot only managed a short burst of lip sync and dialogue before reverting back into full cat mode.
I need more treats, human.
Veo really struggles with animals.
I stand ready to defend this land with honor and courage.
No notes there, solid everything with the improvising Scotsman. Now for his scripted brother.
Let's not call it a retreat, lads. It's a strategic repositioning to optimize future engagement opportunities.
More or less fine, but he ran out of time again and had to cut his last line. That is just the 8-second nature of Veo 3. But in a minute, I'm gonna talk about a solution to that problem.
Hello, yes, this is Pizza Shark. I'd like to order a large vegetarian, please.
Was that a hostage video? Can you take a shark hostage? The improvised shots are always something of a roulette game. The animation was pretty solid at least. Let's take a look at the scripted version.
Yeah, can I get a large pie with extra anchovies and throw in an order of garlic knots? And I just cycled in a new set of teeth.
Character animation, again, more or less fine. The dialogue and lip sync were more than acceptable. Some strange stuff was going on with his non-cell phone hand, so that's not ideal. All in all, Old Man Veo was held up pretty well. I would like to see a longer generation time available, but this is still a workhorse if you need to include dialogue and lip sync all in one go. It has always been a bit smeary on the edges, but it still manages to nail a lot of performances you ask it for. As long as you don't need a talking cat, I give it a B, but with an asterisk. And let me explain why. If you just want a general, all-around, dynamic dialogue and audio generator, Wan 2.5 was best in show today. But that doesn't mean you should sleep on Veo 3, and it certainly doesn't mean you should ignore it. It excels when being controlled with intricate JSON prompting, meaning sometimes 8 seconds is more than you even need. JSON prompting can be pretty intimidating, and there's lots of people that haven't dared touch it even months after it set social media on fire. But there's no need to be afraid, because I've got a beginner-friendly tutorial that will give you everything you need to know about prompting with JSONs. It's step-by-step, it includes an automated JSON builder so you don't have to type any complicated code-looking stuff, and it's designed to be accessible to anyone currently working with AI storytelling. So check out the killer JSON prompting guide you see on your screen right now if you want to take your next AI project to the next level. Thanks for watching, have a good one.